Bits of gossip are beginning to circle that Jay-Z was so desirous of Tupac, he needed to dispose of him so he could move forward. And it appears as though there may be new proof to back up this case. Who might do it? The most you actually can't act, you can't do no films, you can't do a section we're doing, come on. How might you be preferable over the pot you a single shot, Charlie Jay-Z? Was as of late named the best rapper ever by Board magazine, while Scar didn't come to the main three in this and by reignited the discussion about Jay-Z paying off, and controlling his direction to the top fans are presently saying that in the event that Puck hadn't been Jay couldn't ever have figured out how to get his GOAT status, and a few insiders as of late guided out that Jay had a ton toward gain from Pop being dead. Yet does this mean Jay truly wanted to hit on Pop? Or is this simply one more paranoid notion? We should get into it. Gives over accomplice, assuming he had resided, he would have smoked everything, strolling after that collection that he was doing he had previously showed us him, nearly wrapped up with a new collection. So Pop's opponent, with Big Deal Smalls, both Jay-Z and Big Deal Robust from Bed-Stuy, an area in Brooklyn, New York. And they turned out to be close in the mid-90s. Their 1996 collab Brooklyn's best placed Jay on the guide since he was still moderately new at the time anyway. This track likewise purportedly lighted a fight between Jay-Z and Pop Irv Gotti, the pioneer behind Murder Inc. Records, who dealt with Jay-Z's collection, Sensible Uncertainty, guaranteed during his appearance on The Craft of Discourse that he truly cautioned Jay-Z to avoid a snare with Biggie on the grounds that he realized it would cause issues with Pop and Big Deal. Truly got going as companions anyway. Their kinship went bad following the 1994 Quad Studios episode, where Park was trapped and hit multiple times. Pac and his team accepted Big Deal and Diddy were either associated with the occurrence, or they had some awareness of it, and didn't caution him. Definitely, I believe Parker's more upset that wasn't hitting him up, that individuals that didn't do this to him he was partnered somehow with Huge in whether they was coercing them, or when we got back that they planned to do this to talk. So this is one reason that discussion is impacted. And however, both Big Deal and Diddy denied their contribution. The hamburger among Puck and Big Deal immediately raised only months before Jay-Z and Big Deal delivered Brooklyn's best Big Deal. Dropped Who Shot at this point, which further maddened Pop Spice. Gotti knew the strains between the two camps were going to detonate, and that is the reason he told Jay-Z not to put Biggie on his presentation collection. Let you know you must return to Brooklyn's fine. I was bound and determined against it. I was telling Jay, don't do it, don't make it happen. And he was like, why? And I was very much like enormous, is he's major areas of strength for two expressed yet. Before we assume control over the world, we got to assume control over the West Coast. Before we assume control over the West Coast, we got to assume control over the East Coast. Before we assume control over the East Coast, we got to take over New York. Before we take over New York, you got to assume control over Brooklyn. And he possesses all that. And I was like, this isn't a whack. So I was very much like I was in dread that I resembled you might fall off like this little man you see anyway. Jay didn't pay attention to Gotti. And in addition to the fact that he chose to record the track, yet he additionally let Biggie notice Tupac by name something Big Deal had never finished up until that point on Brooklyn's best Big Deal raps. Have to go Coolio mean is getting excessively hot in the event that they had twins. She'd presumably have two Pops get it too. Pox, and with this line Biggie referred to the reports that Pop was associated with Big Deal's significant other Confidence Evans. And he likewise went after Swing by essentially calling him his child. And since Brooklyn's best was Jay's tune Pop began coordinating his displeasure at Fly, he was going right back at him. And afterward, what large did which I resembled, that is the reason Park was shooting on Jay. Due to Brooklyn's best, in the event that they have twins you likely have two Pots get it, and Jay's on the record with him. So presently, he resembles you ain't similar to me, Jay Z. Then he began besieging on Jay anyway, A few fans accept that Tupac doesn't exactly agitated about Jay-Z's tune Brooklyn's Best, yet he really disagreed with one more tune from Jay's presentation collection, 2222s, which includes the line "a lot of West Coast one way," or another Mark proceeded to diss Jay-Z on a few tunes remembering Bomb, First My Subsequent Answer and Companions for Bomb First. Pac got down on Jay by name and ridiculed his appearance on Joe's melody and music video, Hawaiian Sophie, in Bomb. First, Pac straightforwardly compromised Jay and a few of his East Coast adversaries. Concerning Companions, the melody includes the scandalous line phase, which was subsequently tested by Nas on the diss track Ether Coordinated. At Jay-Z Anyway, fans never got to hear Jay's reaction to these diss tracks on the grounds that only 1 month after Pac wrapped up recording these melodies, he was killed in a drive-by. Yet CU individuals realize that Jay did truly answer Pac. It's that his reaction was never delivered to the public. One of Jay's diss tracks aimed at Pac was called Skating. And as per Jay's long-term maker, DJ Clark Kent, Jay decided not to deliver it, keeping in mind the way that Scar passed on anyway. Jay's self-image was wounded by Pac's diss tracks, and however he never delivered Skaven. Kent uncovered that Jay performed it live in light of the fact that the load of emotional baggage was so insane he just needed to make it happen. And it's entertaining in light of the fact that before he played out the record, he resembled Yo. No lack of respect to the dead, yet you can't express anything that to me gracious. So he truly played out an after digital broadcast. No doubt definitely he was at the Apollos. Additionally fascinating that Diddy's previous supervisor quality arrangement as of late asserted that Jay was so frightened by POC to the place where he would have rather not left his lodging in Las Vegas. Since Mark and his group were there, the story was that Jay planned to attempt to act in Vegas, yet Park was in Vegas and him and his fellows now. And they won't let Jay-Z come out the inn. They found out where Jay was at. And Jay won't come out the inn. He planned to miss that exhibition, or whatever like that. Yet I realize he wasn't allowing him to do that show, and Jay was frightened Jay wasn't coming out that lodging until he got leeway. Now this story, it appeared as though Pop was neurotic and doing the most to begin something with Jay anyway. A ton of Pac's fans except that Jay was truly being exceptionally subtle on the grounds that he never came directly at POC, yet he and others on the East Coast did it subconsciously to make POC look insane, when as a matter of fact they began the thump. A few fans additionally accept that the explanation Jay never delivered this diss track coordinated at Pop wasn't out of regard, yet rather in light of the fact that Jay couldn't come at POC with a strong plate at the time. Jay wasn't exactly expressively progressed at this point, and many fans think he was calm envious of Pop achievement. Nas additionally uncovered in his 2001 meeting with Criminal magazine that during a party tossed by Steve Fold around 2000, Jay let him know he was a preferable rapper over Big Deal and the DMX.